Welcome to Season Breakdown, the series where I, a girl with literally no qualifications in this area whatsoever, break down the 2023 Formula One season by team and by driver, covering their highs and their lows and everything in between. This week, we are talking MoneyGram Haas Formula One team. My God, what a mouthful. And if you watched my season comparison, you'll know how I feel about Haas. I'm not going to dive more into it because I went into it in quite a lot of depth then, so you should go check it out. I'll link it somewhere. But at the end of the 2022 season, they made the decision to part ways with their less experienced driver, second year, Mick Schumacher, citing that the lack of experience within the team was impacting them greatly. And so, as such, they announced in early 2023 that they had signed veteran Nico Hülkenberg for the duration of the 2023 season and kept their 2022 signing and the replacement of Nikita Mazepin in Kevin Magnussen. So how did this work out for them? Well, their highest qualifying position of the season for a Grand Prix, let's specify a Grand Prix, not a sprint race, but a Grand Prix, is held by Nico Hülkenberg, where he managed to put his car on the front row where he qualified P2 in Canada. It didn't last long. But funnily enough, Hulk also holds the worst qualifying position of the team with a P20 start in Belgium, just 4 races later. K-Mag, he did try his best to take out the award for the worst qualifying position with multiple consecutive P19 positions. But across the season, Hulk came away with an average qualifying position of P12, while K-Mag had an average of P15. Overall leaving the team with an average Grand Prix qualifying average of P13. Not ideal. Not what you want. Ideally, you'd want to be higher on the grid to give yourself the best chance. But given where they finished in the Constructors' Championship, their struggles on the track are highlighted significantly. Some have argued that they did have decent qualifying pace and that their tyres heated well over the course of a single lap. But their ability to maintain that and manage the tyre heating and the tyre wear over the course of a race, not so much. But their highest Grand Prix finish of the duo is again held by Hulk, who finished P7 in Azerbaijan, while the worst race finish is held by K-Mag, who finished 20th on multiple occasions. Hulk ended the season with an average race finish of P15, while K-Mag had an average finish of P16. Not a lot of points scored there, boys. Leaving the team with an average finish of P15. In terms of differential, and by differential I mean places either gained or lost from their qualifying to their race finish, okay? K-Mag has the lowest of the duo, losing an average of 0.7 position per race. He's going backwards. While Hulk, lost an average of 2.3 places. You can qualify well. Doesn't mean you've got race pace or the ability to, maintain that position. So overall, both drivers losing positions from qualifying to their race finish, leaving the team with an average positional loss per race of 1.5 position. Yeah, that's sort of their performance is, you can see why they came on. In terms of sprint race, Hulk again holds the highest shootout position with P7, as well as the worst shootout position in P20. K-Mag's best sprint shootout position was P11, while his worst was P9. So again, he was trying to come for Hulk's title. Hülkenberg's shootout average across the 5 sprint races was P13, while K-Mag's was P16, leaving the team with an average sprint shootout position of P15. For an additional opportunity to score points, the boys did not do well. In terms of sprint race finishes, K-Mag does, however, hold the highest finishing position with P11. No points for P11. Not in a race, not in a sprint. While Hulk holds the worst finish, again, of P20. And from memory, I'm fairly sure that was a DNF. But anyway, neither managed to score any points in any of the 5 sprint races. Disappointing overall. It's another opportunity to get points, if I can speak. And they didn't really capitalise on that. So, surprised they're in 10th? Not really. In terms of average sprint race finishes, Hulk achieved a whopping P17, while K-Mag managed to get one up on his teammate with an average sprint finish of P14, leaving the team with an average sprint finish of P16. In terms of their sprint differential, Hulk lost an average of 3.6 places per sprint race, mind-bogglingly bad, while K-Mag gained, the only one to gain positions, on average, of 1.4 places per sprint race. So, that's not bad. That's where they need to achieve. That's what they need to be trying to achieve. His highest gain for K-Mag coming in Qatar, where he gained 6 places. But despite his best effort, the team's average sprint differential ended up as a negative 1.1 places. It's underwhelming stats for an underwhelming team with an underwhelming year. Sorry, Haas. I don't know what else you want. I can't make it sound good if it is just purely bad. But if we sit down and we combine the Grand Prix and the sprint averages, we can see just how much they struggled this year. Hulk, he supersedes K-Mag in qualifying with a combined average position of P13, while K-Mag was an average of P15. And remember, that's across both Grand Prix and sprint races. But the roles do reverse in terms of average race finish, with K-Mag managing an average of P15, while Hulk an average of P16. So there's not a lot really differentiating them. There's not a lot between them. And I think that's probably why Haas have renewed their contracts for the 2024 season. But it's not where they should want to be. But anywho, I'm not a team principal. I'm just a fan. In terms of combined overall average differential, K-Mag was the only driver in the team to maintain a positive differential in terms of with 0 point. So it's not bad, at least it's in the positives. I'm putting it in the positives column. While Hulk lost an average of 3 positions across both formats. Not 0.3, but 3 whole places. Let's just sit down and think about that for a second. 3 whole places. That is how. How are you losing so many places? Anywho, the team's overall averages are certainly the worst of the 10 teams, with an average different loss for the whole team, not for a specific driver, but for the whole team, of 1 place. So, I mean, going into a race, the team would be thinking, okay, we're starting 15 and 16, but realistically, we're going to finish 16 and 17. And that's not what you want. An average race finish of P15 with an average qualifying of P14. Is that really where we need to be, Haas? Really? You want the big bucks to be able to compete and develop, but you're not making the strides. I can't imagine that Gene was too happy with that. And I can't imagine that Gunther has had many positive conversations about this. But anyway, focusing on more positives, their best race of the season. Out of all of the races that we went to, sprints, all of it, their best race would arguably be Singapore. Both cars managed to qualify in the top 10, K-Mag in P6 and Hulkenberg in P9. I mean, okay, granted, there's some weird and wonderful things happening in Singapore, and I'd like to think I had something to do with it because I was there, but I don't think so. But they managed top 10, both cars. And despite their typical few positional losses, they managed to maintain a P13 and a P10. I never thought I'd be hyping up a team for finishing P13 and P10. That's not even like... At no point during the 2023 Formula 1 season did both of Haas's drivers manage to score points. Not once. Not in the same race. It was one or the other. their worst race of the season would have to be the diamond of the season, the crown jewel of motorsport in Monaco. Hulk and K-Mag qualified P17 and 18 respectively, but I will give him a shout out for out-qualifying a Red Bull. Sorry, Checo, but not really. And they finished in P17 and P19 respectively. So, I mean, that's an achievement. They out-qualified a Red Bull. Granted, he did crash, but they out-qualified a Red Bull. And that is something that they should focus on. It's a positive. But they still managed to lose places to him in the one race where it's hardest to overtake. Make it make sense. But their biggest positional loss of the season goes to Hulk. Takes out yet another accolade this season. Didn't say it was a good one, but he took it out nonetheless. Where in Canada, he lost 13 places. He started on the front row. Make it make sense. I can't. The biggest gain of the season goes to K-Mag. Are we surprised? Not really. Who gained 5 places in Qatar. Which, okay, I'm not going to shit on that because that's an achievement. That was a tough race. Everyone was struggling in that race. And for him to come out and gain 5 places shows what he's capable of. Hulkenberg ended the season on 9 points, while K-Mag ended on 3, leaving the team with a combined total of 12 points for the whole season. Do I really need to explain that one? So, what can we expect from Haas in 2024? I'm going to go out on a limb and say not a lot. Harsh? Yes. But I genuinely think that they will be towards the bottom. They didn't make any great strides in their development or their upgrades, and they weren't overly competitive in any races. They had a few decent qualifying races, like qualifying performances. Canada, front row. Singapore, both in the top 10. And they're positives, but they're not consistent positives. They're outliers. They are just consistently bad. And they have been consistently poor over the last few seasons. And is that miraculously going to change over one winter break? No. There is something fundamentally going wrong within the Haas organization. I don't know what it is, but I reckon Mickey Schumacher could shed some light on that one. A team culture is very important to team success. If you have a look at Williams, James Vowles had 3 months before the start of the season, and he turned that team around. They were at the bottom of the table last season, and this year they finished in 7th. His culture and what he has done at Williams should be something that Haas looks at and analyzes. And I know we all love Gunther and he's a meme and he's funny and all of that. But is he what the team needs in order to be successful? Taking a more technical approach as well. The team desperately need to work on their race pace and their tyre longevity. Their ability to manage their tyres across a race is so poor. Like the amount of times they pit within the first 10 laps because they've gone too hard out of the box. It's almost every race. And so if they fix that, or at least make an improvement in that, they're going to lose less places because they're going to have to pit less. And it's, why do I have to be the one to say this? They have world-class engineers. They have world-class strategists. They have all of these things, and they're still not performing. They are able to switch the tyres on in qualifying, and that is a strong point. But having single lap pace is not going to be helpful when you're in a 52 or a 68 lap race. You can't pit 68 times. And looking at it, it is just so abundantly clear that they are lacking in so many different ways in comparison to other teams. Not even the teams at the top of the table, but the teams at the bottom and around them. AlphaTauri had a very mediocre season up until the end, and they still couldn't beat them. I'm meaning like they had one driver scoring points for half the season. Then AlphaTauri got a new driver who broke his hand after 2 races, who was then replaced by the 3rd driver of the season, who managed to score points. And then their second driver of the season, the first guy's replacement, also scored points. If you can't capitalize on other team around you's weaknesses in order to succeed, then you're doing something wrong. Is it a bad mentality to have? No, not really. It's the nature of the sport. You need to be cutthroat, and you need to capitalize on the chances that you're given. And Haas just don't do it. They haven't done it in 2022. They haven't done it in 2023. And do I think they're going to do it in 2024? With their current lineup, their current management, and their current specs? Absolutely not. And if they don't remedy something, if they don't remedy any of it, I'm just talking if they remedy even the slightest bit, I reckon that they will see a significant improvement. But if they don't, they're going to have yet another lackluster season. And is anyone really going to be surprised? Not really. Because at the moment, it just seems that they're there to make up the numbers. If Andretti wants a spot, I reckon he could buy out Haas. Or at least give them some funding. Might be his quickest way to get in. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a fan. Thank you for listening to episode 1 of my 2023 season breakdown. I know I went on a bit of a rant at the end there, but, can't expect miracles if you're not going to put in the work. And that is exactly what Haas have been doing. But, anyway, I'll catch you in my next episode where we are talking Alfa Romeo. Thank you for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, all of the fun things.